But what I think is really lovely from everything that you've said, Jen, is that, Edward doesn't communicate with words.
Yes.
But man, he communicates well through his emotions, through his face. He's great at telling you, and if we listen to him, you have a really clear guide of what he wants right now.
Yeah. yes. He is very expressive. He tells you. And if he doesn't like something, he tells you straight away.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's very stubborn. If he doesn't want something, he doesn't want something. He doesn't want to walk, he doesn't want to walk.
Yeah. And those are the days you go, you know what? I'm not going to choose this battle today, but we might try again another time.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Good on you, Jen.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of TheraBytes. It is my absolute privilege to be able to introduce you to someone that I've known for quite some years now. And I know Kate is really disappointed that she can't be here today, but I also have a list of questions from her too to ask you. So welcome to the mic, Jen.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Dana. Thanks for having me here.
Oh, thank you for being here. I know you listen to the podcast a fair bit. It's a bit weird being on the other side, isn't it? And even just like being in the room and hearing your voice through the microphone.
It's very weird.
It does take a little bit of getting used to, that's for sure. Look, the context of this is we're talking a whole lot about fitness again, and you're a fitness buff. I love what you do from a fitness perspective.
I try.
You try.
I try.
We all try. When we're not elite athletes, we give it our best go, don't we? And look, lately we've been talking a fair bit about, just stories that people can relate to. Our children all present very differently. We talk about that all the time, and we still try to learn from each other, different GMFCS levels, different experiences, and your story is just a beautiful story. And I was just wondering if you can start by just telling us a little bit about you.
I am a vet by training, and I gave up my job 7 years ago because I had the boys, and I have twin boys coming 7 years old next week.
Wow.
Seven.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big number.
Very big number. Yeah. And Edward has CP as a consequence of twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome in utero. So we found out just after he came out, he was a bit early, 33 weeks. So everything, it's a huge learning curve. And we still, 1 foot forward every day. Just facing the challenges as it comes.
Yeah. I mean, each day is just a new day, isn't it?
It is.
It's not like, none of us have ever done this before.
That's right, yes. Exactly right.
So we hope that we can help each other and learn from each other, but it's still quite a daunting, imagine it would have been so daunting. I mean, it's not just one child. You have twins.
There was a blur, but yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Do you feel like that for the first few years? Like, what was that like for you, where you kind of felt like you could come up to the surface a little bit?
I think after 3 years. I think I was struggling for 3 to 4 years, I think, with everything that's going on. But I think now, as they get older, it gets a little bit easier, but just the challenges with Edward just keeps coming. Yeah. We just have to just roll with him.
Yeah. Sure. Well, he's out there at the moment, walking away on the treadmill, doing really great.
Yes. Happy,
very happy, which is good. We want our kids to be happy.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what life looks like for you. What does life look like with twin boys?
Hectic.
7. Yeah. Okay.
Hectic. Yeah. I'm happy that Ethan has kind of like settled in whatever he's doing, in school and things like that. Edward is taking a little bit of time, but I think he is getting really used to his routine now, which is good. Yeah. We spend a lot of time outdoors. We have, I think, we make good use of our equipment, which is good. So I guess it's hectic. But we roll with him. Yeah.
I mean, look, Ethan is a remarkable young man. I mean, at 7 years of age, he's so wise. I got to hang out with you last week, and I absolutely loved it. I got to see him play Pokemon Go.
Yeah, yes, that's just a big thing for us now. Yes,
it was so good, and it was a whole new language.
Yes, so he has found his niche. He loves it's a very safe community.
Yeah,
and it's a group of people that we can trust. trust, and he interacts with people socially, which is a great thing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And there's a lot to balance, isn't it, when you've got, siblings, is to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to be part of their community and do what they like. And
exactly.
Yeah, I was really, actually, I loved it when I walked away from that, just feeling so good, knowing that you've got this beautiful community that you've just built around you, and good people bring good people into their world.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about Edward and the journey that you've been on with Edward. Tell us a little bit about what you think have been the biggest wins for you. Like, you've been through a lot. The first few years are tricky. Medical appointments, therapy appointments. I know we've known each other for a long time. You've had, it's pretty much nearly that whole time.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you feel have worked really well.
Okay. So one thing that really worked really well was when he was about 3. I remembered I was devastated when I heard from the surgeon that he needed a procedure done, which was the muscle lengthening surgery. And we were so petrified. I think I remember really crying about it. I talked to you about it.
Yeah.
And we had like a prehab program going on and then a rehab program going on. But that I felt after we came out from that procedure, Edward became very different in terms of his movement. I felt like he was more fluid. He was more more comfortable, because he was very, very tight. He was always scissoring.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a kind of lifespan, that there's an expiry date for that surgery. I think everybody say, this is like a salvage procedure to buy time. And after a while, we need to proceed to a bigger surgery. But touch on wood, we have been doing okay so far. This is year 3 coming year 4.
Yeah.
But I know at the back of our mind, we're always worried about like hip dysplasia causing him discomfort and things like that.
Yeah.
But that procedure really helped him to be more comfortable in the walker. I remember that he was really uncomfortable being in the walker. We had to really kind of stretch his leg to get him to know. Pat it out. Yeah. But he's happy now. And just he's also more comfortable in the standard. So in hindsight, that procedure was actually very beneficial and very helpful. Yeah.
It takes so much bravery to say yes for your child to have a surgical procedure, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think we talk about that enough.
It's very painful. You make the decision for them, and you know that the road ahead after the procedure is very painful, but you can't take the pain away from them.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to know what's going to happen after that as well. So, there is a lot of, there's pain meds. It just disrupts the whole, the person in general. Takes a lot out of him. Just whatever procedure, I think, And I think when he was in the cast, I remembered him having all the spasms, and he couldn't tell us. He would be screaming in the back of the car, in his car seat, and we just didn't know what to do. I just didn't know. Sometimes I would have to stop the car in the middle of nowhere just to get him to come out of that spasm. I remember that those times were a bit painful, but I remember when we got the cast out, we were celebrating. We were like so happy, and like next stop, the pool.
Yes, and let's clean these legs.
Yes, all the dead skin. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. I know it's pretty gross, isn't it? But it's such a celebration point. But you do go through so much during that, and I remember time is a bit of a blur to me, I have to admit, because of COVID amongst all of that. And I know WA, we got away with it pretty well.
Yes.
But it's still a bit of a blur. And I remember my memory of that time was just how incredible you were and continue to be. Because I remember that I think we were a close contact or something along those lines, but you still needed to care for Edward. And I remember you wearing 2 N95 masks. So that you could still care for him during sleep.
Yeah, because I think at this point in time, I know this is a little bit extreme, but I really haven't had the courage to. So nobody else in the family has the courage to actually take Edward on for his sleep and the night shifts yet. So I have been doing that. Howard has to go to work. Howard is the sole breadwinner of the family. Yeah. I was just very surprised. The mask worked. And he never got COVID 2 times. Yeah. While I wore the mask whenever I was around him. Yeah.
And that, Jen, I think that's something that I've never forgotten about you, which is why I admire you so much, that is just such an act of what a mother does for their child. It really is. And that extends, beyond you just want the best for him.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's all parents want.
Exactly right.
You want the best for them. You want to do the best thing that gives them their best quality of life.
It is,
It's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you found to have been, you kind of alluded to it already a little bit, in terms of just life being really hectic.
Mm-hmm.
What have been the biggest challenges, like right now? What are some of the things that you find are tricky?
Tricky. I think as they grow bigger, it's actually really, really tricky because they're long, they're stronger. And another thing that we just suddenly came out of nowhere was his seizures. We had really a good period of 2 or 3 years without seizures, despite his brain malformations. And it came out of nowhere. It threw us here and there a little bit. But I think at the moment it's his strength. He doesn't know his strength.
Yeah.
He's got so much tone. Sometimes when I carry him, he's like a plank. And it's like dead weight plus more because he's so strong. And I've been finding that equipment transfer has been a little bit challenging. I think as with all, I think moms probably with kids with special needs probably would have the same problem. Like as they grow bigger, they have to kind of they figure out a way to transfer safely.
Yeah.
It used to be a one-person job. Now it's 2, sometimes 3.
Okay.
So I think that's my biggest challenge, I guess.
Because you do try to accommodate as much as you can, don't you? I mean, I know, we have equipment and hoists and things like that, but a lot of the day-to-day sometimes when you're at home, it's just easier and faster. I know, I do know.
The path of least resistance, yes. 5 minutes, for the 5 minutes I do that, I need to take 10 minutes to bring the hoist down and then trying to move along the carpet.
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges, isn't there?
Yeah.
And then, if you don't have like a lot of people, we won't have like a purpose-built home that's just all open.
Exactly right.
So you have walls.
Yes.
And, then you've got dents and walls, lots to think about. But as they get older, they're different challenges, aren't they? Yeah. In line with that, then, we've been talking a lot about fitness lately, and which kind of relates to all of this. But broadly, I just told everyone you're a fitness buff because I admire you for what you do. But tell me a little bit what fitness means to you, and what does it mean for Edward?
I think I have been very fitness orientated. I think I have always been to sports, and I hope to see that in my children as well. And I see the benefits of sports and just being fit in general.
Yeah.
I see a lot of difference when Edward has time in his walker and in stander. He feels more relaxed. Bowel movement is good.
Yeah. It's important to talk about poo.
It's very important. Bowel movement is so different if he's sitting all the time. I remember when we went to Singapore once and he didn't have access to his walker. We had so much issue with constipation because he just didn't move that much.
Yeah.
So when we implement all these movements, small little breaks of movement, 1 hour here, 1 hour here, I think it really helps with his energy levels as well.
Sure.
And another thing that I feel that is really helpful is it's his ability to be able to mingle socially with the people in the neighborhood. We are very famous along our street because he's in this walker almost every day. Everybody comes in and beeps and say hi, comes around and gives him a high five.
Wow, Jen, what a beautiful community you've cultivated there.
Yeah, I think everybody knows him, but not us.
The thing I can relate to about that, because a lot of people know I don't have kids, but I do have fur babies. I have 2 dogs. And it's really funny. Every time I go for walks, everyone knows my dog's names. We don't know each other. We're like, oh, that's Frankie's mum.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
So it's the same with you. There's Edward's mum.
Edward's mum. And it's Edward in the walker. If I go to the shop, someone recognizes me. But if I bring Edward there, everybody's like, oh, you're the one that stays
by
there.
association. Yeah. That is amazing. So you've been really consistent in putting him in his walker and having him. And there must be good days and hard days.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
What do you notice what does a hard day look like in a walker?
A hard day would be very unmotivated Edward. We'll be screaming and we'll shouting and we'll be like having Ethan coming out to help us. We have like balls flying here and there, but then, he will take 10 steps and he'll be like, I'm not going to do this.
Not keen.
Yeah,
right.
Not keen.
Yep.
But then, some days we feel good. We do more steps. Some days we don't feel good. We just take, we just do half the distance. We go, we are led by him and we don't force him too much to do.
That's beautiful.
Do that.
Yeah.
And I find that with with Botox as well.
Yeah.
I feel most of the time we see a little bit of improvement and a little bit of ease in movement.
That's great.
And then when it kind of wears off, you can see him struggling a little bit.
You do notice it.
Yeah. So most of them, I would say 90% of the time I see an improvement. And then sometimes you'll be like, oh, not quite sure. Yeah.
And have you become quite accustomed to put him in the walker? Like that, it takes a bit of getting used to, doesn't it?
Yes.
In terms of positioning. What was that process like for you? And where are you at now?
I think I think now all our support workers are helping us as well. So it's a two-person job. He gets very, very excited when he sees his walker, when he hears the wheels. Oh. For some reason, recently he has been doing that when he sees the shoes and when he sees the walker. Yeah.
Beautiful boy.
And then we have to fight the tone a little bit because
he's so
raring. Like he's very excited. So one person will hold and push him and settle up, and another person just keeps him upright and steady, and one person just do the rest. And it's like a 2-minute, like a F1, where you change the wheels, kind of thing.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, you've got a great team, and you can all. Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
And the fact that he is getting so excited to get in it. I mean, has that changed? You said that's just a new thing. It's just changed over time. Have you noticed that? I mean, what do you think has sparked that change? I mean, we can only guess, but...
Yeah, I can't put I just don't really know what exactly, but I think it's like a combination of things. I think one thing is walking away from trying to get him to walk in AFOs.
Yeah.
I think
I'm so glad he brought that up.
We pressed him to do that for a while because I think we were guided by what a few therapists mentioned,
Sure.
proper posture, proper walking techniques and all that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't work with Edward. 6 years in the making, we have been trying to get him to get comfortable with AFO. So it's 6 years. Every single time we go in and get a new pair of AFOs, you're like, oh, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this. And he just never wants to walk in his AFOs. So I think we walked away from that. I think we gave him the freedom to just walk on his toes.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful.
And we just tweaked around it. So another thing was the turtle braces. So it's an in-between between AFOs and not having anything.
Yes.
So I think that gave him a little bit more of a stretch with his calf muscles.
Beautiful.
Maybe that also helped with this ease.
His comfort and ease.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, so...
I love that you've thought that through that as well. It's always something that's really interesting, isn't it? So obviously something has changed. And we've spoken about it a lot. And I try to encourage a lot of families and go, look, AFOs are good for that stretch and that positioning.
Yeah.
But if it means they can't walk and they can't increase their heart rate and get involved, no, that's right.
No point.
It's not like he's in his walker, say, for 8 hours in the day. None of us walk for 8 hours in the day.
No.
And I think we were trying to replicate the other day. If you put me into a rigid splint and put me in a moon boot and you told me to go for a walk, I'd tell you to get stuff.
I would too. Yes. It's just uncomfortable, heavy, unnatural movement for him.
Yeah. And I think it's very fair. And I think we just need to sometimes just take that step back and go, okay, there's the ideal scenario, but actually the ideal scenario for him is to enjoy, to love, to be part of things, to move freely. And this is his body. His body does, unfortunately for him, create this strong tone. But how can we let him use it to his advantage so he can win, right? Yeah. Do you feel like that's taken some time to get to that place though? Like obviously you've been trying to keep the AFOs on and in the back of your mind you're probably still thinking, good alignment, good posture. Like is that something that you feel like you've got to work through?
I think once he gotten used to it, I feel like in the early years he just hated it.
Yeah, okay.
And I remember pushing him so much that I think he was just crying every single time he sees it.
Yeah, that breaks your heart.
We took it away for a bit, we put it back again, and then now he is comfortable. After, I would say, 6 years, we persisted, but we didn't really, I think after the first year, we just take a step back, slowly, on the good days, we put it on. So now he's tolerating it. We just take advantage of each Botox session as well.
Beautiful.
So after that, he is comfortable. Now he's standing in his standard an hour and a half a day.
Wow.
And then I think it just work up.
Yeah.
Just work his tolerance up.
Yep.
Yeah. So
just like with any of us, like you can't start running.
Yeah, you just don't run like
you don't just go
5K on your first day, right?
You might be very happy if you run 500 meters without stopping.
Exactly right.
You allow yourself to do that. And sometimes I think it's worthwhile for us to put ourselves in that situation and go, actually, you wouldn't expect me to do all of this right now. Exactly, it's not reasonable. But what I think is really lovely from everything that you've said, Jen, is that Edward doesn't communicate with words.
Yes.
But man, he communicates well through his emotions, through his face. He's great at telling you, and if we listen to him, you have a really clear guide of what he wants right now.
Yeah. yes. He is very expressive. He tells you. And if he doesn't like something, he tells you straight away.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's very stubborn. If he doesn't want something, he doesn't want something. He doesn't want to walk, he doesn't want to walk.
Yeah. And those are the days you go, you know what? I'm not going to choose this battle today, but we might try again another time.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Good on you, Jen.
Yeah.
This is just such a great conversation, Jen. I love that we've been able to chat. Do you have anything, and this puts you on the spot, I didn't preempt this in any way, but if you had a final comment to, I don't know, to your, when Edward was 2 years old, you've learned a lot since then.
Yeah.
What advice would you give yourself to past Jen?
Past Jen.
Yeah.
I would say just to take it slow. Yeah. I think in the very early days, I gave myself a lot of expectation. I gave Edward a lot of expectations to do this, to do that. And, I think social media played a very big part, because I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I want him to do that. And I was so scared, because I was so worried that if I missed this period, what was going to happen? Did I not give him the best chance? The kind of thing. So I think a lot of pressure on myself. I feel like maybe if I could tell the old Jen just to take it slow, take it one day at a time, and not to look at all those social media posts. Just be guided by him. Yeah, just be guided by him. And I have to remind myself right now as well.
Of course. Yeah.
And I think we have let go a lot of things at the moment, just to do the things that he likes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So because we have to function as a family, a family unit. We can sign up for all this, therapy things and all that kind of thing. It's just gonna not work for our family. I used to want to just, do everything. But then,
what's the cost?
At what cost? And he didn't like it as well. A lot of things that I did when he was younger, he didn't like it, and I was just very sorry. I felt very bad. So another thing I would tell probably would just be guided by him. Just that he will tell you what. He don't force him. Yeah.
Look, and I think it's always one of those things we can always, it's the value of hindsight, right? If only, and the important thing is to never guilt yourself over the things that you did do. But I think what is always so important is keeping in mind that the reason why we do what we do is because we love our children.
Yeah.
Adore them, would do anything for them, would sleep in 2 N95 masks just to protect them, right? And that's what parents do. That's what mothers do. That's what fathers do. They just love their children. And I think the advice you've said is absolutely correct, because you want to do everything you can for them, but you must be guided by them, and you must make sure that you and your family can still function as a unit.
Yes.
And I think that's probably the threshold or the meter, Is it like beep, 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 still going well? Is it beep, 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 beep?
Yeah. We were doing that.
What was it, right?
Yes.
And, that leads to burnout. Someone said to me, burnout's when you put your foot on the throttle and you keep going up and revving in the red zone all the time.
Yes.
Of course, the motor's going to go.
It's going to bust.
It definitely is. Our F1 drivers have to be very careful what they do. But I think that advice is just wonderful, and it's been a privilege, walking this journey with you.
Thank you so much,
it's
Dana.
been so lovely, and I learn from you all the time. I love the discussions that we have, and they're usually pretty funny. And some bit advice sometimes. I'll go, oh, should I get this looked at? So thank you very much, and thank you for sharing your story on TheraBytes today, Jen.
Thank you for having me here, Dana.
Oh, so welcome. To all of our listeners, I hope you really enjoyed that. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant. But stay tuned for so much more, and we'll talk to you again really soon. Bye.